Hello Internet, welcome to another short series that is tutorial-esque. We're going to be talking about Hub01 and the missions that they have on offer there. So this is going to be a pretty hefty spoiler series, so if you're not interested in spoilers, you prefer to learn things on your own, this is your one and only warning. We're going to be jumping right into it. So if you don't know, Hub01 is a faction camp inside of the game of Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, and they have some special missions and some special things on offer for you as a player that can be pretty beneficial. So thought we would do a series where we discussed the 3 missions that are currently implemented in the game and what you need to do in order to be successful. So the first thing you're going to need to do is locate Hub01. Now this is easier than you might think. It's the spawn rate has been pushed up more to be more frequently occurring in the game because they were working on these missions and they needed playtesting, and in order to get playtesting they had to make it much more common for the average person to find. So locate Hub01. Mine was overrun with ants, but that's not a super big deal. I was able to find Hub01. You can usually pretty easily tell what it is. It's these group of 8 zeros on your map, 2 by 4 zeros on the map, and it will be labeled Hub01. And then specifically we're looking for the intercom, which is also marked on the map here. So once you've done that, you want to proceed into the building. Yours most likely will not be overrun by ants. That's just something that happens. You want to navigate into the building to where the intercom is. Now there's a card reader and there is an intercom. We want to examine the intercom using the lowercase e key, and it will bring up the dialog menu. Now there are a few options available to us. It begins with a variety of things. I always choose the one that says you do realize that the front door is just open. I believe that multiple different dialogue options will still make the quest available to you, but I wasn't sure which ones do and which ones do not. When you interact with them, they will often tell you to leave, that they don't want anything to do with you. But if we quickly offer them, hey, we can help you, they will offer us a quest. Specifically, they will say, there's nothing you could do for us. We now leave before I'm forced to, and then you hear a short, muffled conversation from across the intercom. The intercom then says, well, it seems that we do have some use for you. It is a dangerous task, but if you complete it, we will allow you limited trading access. And that's something that we're interested in. The hub contains a lot of sciencey items like CBMs, EMP grenades, and science ID cards, which can be very valuable to a later game character. So we're going to accept the quest that they're offering for us. So we will choose the option to tell me about it, and they will in fact tell us about it. The intercom proceeds to say, one of our scientists recently left the lab to perform a field test on a prototype robot, but failed to return and has not been heard of since. Investigate the test and return with her and the prototype. Failing that, return with the data recorder that was attached to our prototype. Unsurprisingly, things have not gone well for this particular scientist testing a murder robot, and of course she has been killed, and we're going to go retrieve the pieces. Once we've accepted their quest and told them that we will do it, they will say, oh, good luck, and that's great, but we will get a new dialogue option that says, got any advice? And if we ask them for any help, they will basically encourage us not to approach the robot. If the robot remains operational, do not try to fight it head on because it will kill you. Dr. Prado left the hub with a handful of EMP grenades. Use those to disable the robot. This robot is in fact extremely dangerous. It has some martial arts type abilities. It will knock you to the ground. It has the brute knockback effect, and in general can be very, very dangerous. Now on the plus side, it does hate zombies, so there will be often times where if the robot is near a group of zombies, it will kill them off for you. So we need to now locate this robot. If we go to our missions tab, which is the capital M key, we will select from this menu the return field data quest, which is the quest we were just given. And it will tell us to investigate a nearby field and return with Dr. Prado and the robot prototype she was testing, blah blah, basically what we were just told. Here, however, it specifically references the I/O recorder, which is the item that we need. In addition to that, it lists our current coordinates as well as our target's coordinates, So if we want to, we can, puzzle out where that is. Alternatively, you can simply open your map menu, and inside your map menu, the quest area will have been marked with a red asterisk key. Now, I've done this quest multiple times. Basically, every time up until today, it has been in a field with nothing else around it. Today, we had 2 separate incidents. One, it was located in a field, but there was a large body of water in the way. And then the second time I tried this quest, it actually generated it inside the town. So it appears that this can locate really anywhere that is a field, even if that field is located inside of a city. Once you have that location, you're going to want to proceed in that direction. I recommend clearing enemies on the way there because it's a little bit easier to deal with if the area around it is clear. Having to fight off zombies is a little bit of an issue. Once I got out there, I actually found some riffraff coming at me from the north, so I had to deal with them before I could address the robot. Now, in my particular situation, as I said, there's a body of water. This robot is not capable of swimming. So in this situation, you would just use the body of water. If you have a handgun or really any kind of gun that can target it across the water, I would do that and recommend just shooting it because bullets are cheaper than the EMP grenades that are on the corpse. So in general, I would prefer to shoot it personally. If you want to actually approach it, or if you don't feel like you can shoot it successfully or whatever, there are EMP grenades on the corpse. The issue here is just how do we get the robot to step away from the body long enough for us to grab those EMP grenades. The robot is faster than you when walking. Sprinting, you can get away from it. So if you can just create enough room to get to the corpse, you can grab the EMP grenades. I recommend wielding the EMP grenade that you're going to throw. That way you don't accidentally pull the pin on the wrong grenade. And once you do that, you will throw the grenade. Again, throwing in Cataclysm is not super amazing, so if you have 0 skill, there's a great chance you're going to miss where you're aiming. But in this case, I actually hit the robot, and it went down immediately. 1 EMP grenade is enough to do it. I would recommend this. This is the recommended strat, is to get the EMP grenades, throw the grenade, kill the enemy. So that's what I would encourage you to do. I would not recommend taking it on in melee pretty much ever. I think it's along the same lines as trying to melee a Black Ops zombie or a brute. I would just recommend you never do that ever. And because of its speed, it would be very difficult to kite with a spear, so I would not recommend that either. Once the robot has died, regardless of how you've done it, we need to proceed to its corpse, and on its body will be a prototype IO recorder. This is the item that we need for the quest, and we're going to take that back to Hub01. So make sure you pick that up. It drops from the robot's corpse. It is not on the body of the Hub01 scientist. In addition to the EMP grenades, the corpse will also have a Hub01 jumpsuit. This is a unique item that exists only at the hub. And it's really the only place I know of that you can get one really easily. And it's just a simple jumpsuit with Hub01 stitched on it. It's a vault suit essentially from Fallout, and it's a nice little thing to pick up if you like to collect unique items. Once we've done that, we will return to the hub, and we basically just turn in the quest. We will tell them, we have a variety of options. I don't see why you would try to keep it. Just say, yes, here it is, and you will give it to them. Unfortunately, because of the container issues, my broth popped up in this menu, and I had to dump it on the ground. But once we turn in the quest, they will tell us that the data was salvageable, but everything else, of course, went poorly. They obviously it was not successful. We will tell them that we are glad to help, and it will pop us back into the main dialogue screen, where we now have the option to trade with them, which is really significant. And you'll see here, just as a simple pull-up of what they have to offer, they have quite a few sterile CBMs, so if you were willing to spend a bunch of money to get CBMs, this is a great way to do it. Not only do they often have a large variety of materials, but they also have them in their sterile, non-faulty state, so they are ready to install. So I would highly recommend, if you're going the CBM route, at least pop into the Hub01 now and then and see what they have on offer. It is worth noting that their trades will update every 3 days, I believe, is the in-game marker for how much time has to pass before they refresh their stock. So if they don't have anything you want, you can pretty easily come back in a few days and see what they have on offer. And another thing to note here is that science ID cards are relatively cheap. So if you're struggling to find a pickaxe and you don't know how to get into your first lab, this is an excellent place to come and possibly pick up a cheap science ID card that can allow you immediate access to a lab. Other than that, I don't often trade with NPCs. I find it pretty clunky, but it's available to you if you want. Here again in the menu, we have things like the Scrambler Grenade, we have inactive manhacks, soldering iron, lots of things that can be pretty valuable if you can't find them yourself. If we back out into the dialogue tree, we do have the option to ask them what they were testing out there. If we ask them, they will give us a little bit more information. They will say it was a modified Raytheon chassis with a custom AI. We had hoped that it would interact with the outside world for us, but you know how well it went. Shame about what happened with the evisceration and all. And of course, we only can respond with an ellipsis because what do you say to that? Not really content with just showing one. I wanted to reload my save and see if I could find where else the robot might spawn. And this is where it spawned in the city for me. It still took a place on top of a field in the city, but it was adjacent enough to the city that there was a lot of monster density, and it made interacting with the robot much more difficult because I had not fully cleared this area previously. When I got over there, there were zombies coming at me, and I decided why not just try to go up to the robot, see what the robot's abilities were, and that's when it began to just beat me to death, essentially. With its martial arts abilities, it knocked me to the ground, and it seems to always follow up the knockdown effect with a brute attack, which knocks you back several tiles. Now, I was most likely going to die in this situation because I didn't approach it tactically. I didn't approach it tactically, and so I just went in to see what it could do. And so we had zombies coming in from the north. This game was pretty progressed, so there was a lot of like medium upgrade type monsters. And then eventually an incandescent husk actually killed the robot. I think this is a viable tactic. If there are a lot of zombies around, you can just lure the robot to the zombies. It seems to attack whatever creature is closest to it, similar to the other robots in the game. So if you can get it surrounded by zombies, you can likely take shots at it without issue. And then again, in my game, the incandescent husk came along and fried it to death. So if you can find something like that, that's a pretty easy way of killing the creature. Now, up until recently, the cars were one of the best ways to deal with this. The first time I did this quest, I just hit the robot with my car. It died, and I picked up the IO recorder. Now, unfortunately, that is not a viable strategy anymore because cars now crush items underneath their tires. So if you run over this robot, you have a very good chance of destroying the item that it drops, which you need for the quest. So I would not recommend taking a vehicle. Shooting it seems viable, but I would really recommend, there's a reason that they give you the EMP grenades. Just throw the EMP grenade. They even give you 2 in case you miss the first one. All you have to do is maintain distance from the robot long enough to pick up the item, activate the item, and throw the item. So you only really need to be minimally, like I would say, 5 tiles away to be really safe. And now that's about it for Hub01's first mission. Now the next 2 missions are considerably more difficult. The first mission is something you can do basically at level 1, so to speak. We don't have levels. It's something you can do on day 1 if you approach it properly or get lucky or whatever. It's definitely doable without any gear. In fact, in our example video here, we didn't take any hits in that first encounter. We just kited it around, got to the EMP grenades, threw the EMP grenades, it died, and back we went to the hub. So this mission is definitely accomplishable on day 1. The subsequent 2 missions are much more difficult, and I would not recommend approaching them until you have a nicely geared character. We will get into that in the next episode. For now, that's going to do it. If you liked this video, this is YouTube exclusive content, which I want to do more of. Remember to hit that like button, really helps put the video out there for more people to see. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. I'd appreciate that very much. Or don't. That is acceptable as well. So that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. I'll be back with another hub mission guide in the near future, and I'll see you in the next episode.